Hey guys, it's Bang for Buck PC Gamer here. Batman Arkham Knight has made its way back on Steam and it's now available for purchase again. And that's due to Iron Galaxy finally completing a complete patch. Now unfortunately, it still has a few problems. Previously, the Batman Arkham Knight system requirements required a Windows 7 or Windows 8.1, and it also required an Intel i7-3770 on AMD FX 8350, and most crucially 8 gigabytes of system memory. Now since the update, people have been complaining about high memory usage, and also since the update has come for Windows 10, the recommended memory usage has been increased. Now that is a problem because most of us do actually just run 8 gigabytes of memory, because for most games that's definitely enough. And I wanted to check and see if this problem was exclusive to Windows 10 alone. So what I'm going to do is run the game in Windows 10 and Windows 7 with the same exact settings and see if the memory usage changes between the two operating systems. Now the system I'm using has an Intel i7-4790K overclocked to 4.7 gigahertz. I'm also using a Asus Maximus 7 Ranger motherboard with 16 gigabytes of Corsair Vengeance Pro Series memory running at 2400 megahertz. So for the graphics cards, I'm using two Nvidia GTX 980 Ti's in SLI using an overclock of 220 megahertz on the core and 300 megahertz on the memory. Now I am aware that Batman Arkham Knight still, after all this time, does not support multi GPU configurations, but that's another issue. Hopefully that will get resolved in the future. So I'm going to jump into the game and show you the settings I used, and just do a side-by-side comparison between the two operating systems and see if there is any variance between the memory usage. Okay, so the settings I used for Batman Arkham Knight, I used a resolution of 3840 by 2160. Otherwise known as 4K. Maximum frames per second was set to 90. Texture resolution, shadow quality, and level of detail were all set to high. Motion blur, anti-aliasing, and chromatic aberration, and including film grain, were all disabled. Motion blur, I think this looks terrible. Anti-aliasing didn't really benefit me at my resolution. I also disabled interactive smoke and fog and interactive paper debris because these Nvidia GameWorks features rely on physics itself. I realize not everyone can take advantage of these features, so I left enhanced rain and light shafts on because regardless of if you got an AMD GPU, you shouldn't suffer any performance drop between using these settings. So I left these two settings on, turned the above two off just to make it more relevant to a wider audience. So that's pretty much the settings I use for the game. So Batman Arkham Knight up and running now, and as you can see I have it on Windows 7 and on the left and Windows 10 on the right. I do want to note that both systems were using nothing in the background. Literally the only thing that was running on both systems was Steam and Batman Arkham Knight itself. So you can see that both games on both operating systems are using over 7 gigabytes of system memory just from the startup. Now Iron Galaxy claimed that over long extended periods of gameplay, memory usage can rise all the way up to 10 or more gigabytes, and when this happens you have to restart the game to cure the problem. No, I haven't seen any evidence of that so far. I played both segments of the game for about 10 minutes and I never saw any of the systems on both games run over 8 gigabytes of system memory. So I would imagine that if you've only got 8 gigabytes as a total, it would probably start eating into your paging file, which is when you run out of memory and it starts using hard drive space as memory. So that would probably slow the game down a bit because it's a bit slower, and I'm not too sure how that utilizes memory. So it could in fact only be if you haven't got enough your memory will exceed 10 gigabytes. But if you've got more than 8 gigabytes of memory, then I think you'll be okay, to be honest. Generally the game looks stunning, I can't complain about that. It was a shame the game launched in such a dire state, but the game is definitely the best Batman game to date, visually. And it's a shame that it doesn't take advantage of multi-GPU configurations at the moment, but hopefully Iron Galaxy and Nvidia can get that sorted out, as I'll definitely be able to benefit from being able to use both of my GTX 980 Ti's. So after playing the game for like 10 minutes each, I can honestly say I never exceeded 8 gigabytes on both systems, so the problem definitely isn't exclusive to Windows 10. It all just depends on your memory usage or the memory you have in your system. 8 gigabytes generally I think you'll still be okay, but you'll be cutting it close. Anyway guys, that's enough from me, and thanks for watching.
There's a bunch of them getting a piece of the action.